All right, everybody, we are here. Thanks for joining us. It's the XFL Tampa Bay press conference pre-show and chill stream. And as always, I have my man J Dash from the XF podcast. How you doing today, brother?
It's another day in paradise.
I'm loving it. We're heading down to sunny Florida, not literally, but figuratively. Hopefully the folks in the chat can let us know if the volume's good. I think it's better this time. I think it's more equal, but hey, we will see, and I'm sure somebody will comment and let us know. This is a fun coach to kind of track down because, quite honestly, I think we've known all of the coaches with a lot more time ahead of time of the press conference, however you would word that, than we have with Trestman here. It sounded like it was going to be Jim Leavitt for a quick second, and a bunch of journalists came out and made sure to let us know, nope, that's not the fact, but it is indeed Marc Trestman. Thank you for letting me know the volume's good. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? You look at his coaching record, he didn't do too hot in Chicago, but he did do pretty decent in the CFL, only back-to-back coach for the Alouettes, so that's got to stand for something. Grey Cup winner, rather.
Yeah. First off, to all the listeners out there, stop comparing XFL coaches to NFL records. This is not going to be the NFL. If you want to see what this league is going to be about, compare it to CFL. And if you look at Marc Trestman's record in the CFL, he's almost, you can't say almost, he's a 3-time Grey Cup champion. Mm-hmm. So he knows how to win in lower-level football. Yes, he may not be the sexy pick like a Jim Zorn or a Bob Stoops, but the guy has a record. This guy's been everywhere. He has a resume. He's not no smug off the street. He's been where? He's been to places. He's done things. He's won championships as a coach, as a player, and as a coaching assistant. So back off on the, he's, what's his record? He was 13-19 with the Bears. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be coaching the Bears.
Yeah,
he's coaching Tampa Bay. He's coaching Toronto. He's coaching Montreal.
Well, and that's a good thing you bring up too, because I can't remember who was on the Bears at the time, but they're not generally the greatest team, right? So yeah, and you brought it up. You said it just right too. The fact of the matter is, this dude knows what he's doing in the CFL, which is a lot more comparable to what the XFL is going to be, at least with the caliber of talent. We're going to see a lot of CFL guys jumping ship, I think, more so than the NFL, obviously, right? Clearly, if they had a chance to stay in the NFL, I think a lot of people are going to stay there. That may change in the future. Who knows, right? If the XFL blows up and they get some big money, that could change. But until then, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of CFL caliber players. I think he's going to be a good fit. I think the fact of the matter is not all of these picks are going to be the sexiest picks. Quite honestly, when you look at Pep Hamilton, I think Marc Trestman is a better pick than Pep Hamilton, and I like Pep Hamilton. Go blue, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see. We have 4 down, 4 to go. Seems like we're going east to west here. So that leaves us L.A. or Houston next, which I would bet we're probably going to see Houston. L.A., New York, my guess would be the last 2, but it could be St. Louis. They could go right into the heart of the country, and it makes sense if they go to St. Louis last 2 because they're the only ones that were robbed of an NFL team. But I don't know. Who do you think where do you think we'll see in the next press conference?
If they're doing the East versus West, Seattle's done, Dallas is done, so you're down to L.A. and Houston. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're going to go to L.A. next. I really do think that St. Louis, New York, and L.A. are the final 3 teams.
Yeah.
So when they come back to the East, they will go to East. So you have Pep in Washington. So you'll have, and you got Trestman for Tampa Bay. So you got New York, you got St. Louis, New York, and L.A. are the next 3 teams in Houston. Mm-hmm. So I think you go Houston, New York, L.A., St. Louis in my order.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I could also see them going to New York last just for the kind of it would wrap up their press conference circuit, right? They did their initial kickoff at MetLife Stadium. But yeah, I think regardless, I think we're seeing Houston next, which quite honestly excites me because I'm out in the Houston area. I'm going to try to get into that press conference. So if there is no pre-show when that happens, that's why. But you know, we haven't seen any other names, but possibly Hazlitt, maybe. No really other confirmation other than Albright's interview on the XFL show. But you know, he seems to be pretty on point with what he says. So that could just mean they were talking to him, very similar to Jim Haslett, or not Jim Haslett, but Levitt rather.
Yes.
But yeah, if we do see Haslett, I would assume he's in St. Louis. So we still don't have any picks for New York, L.A., Houston. But I would like to see, throw Rex Ryan in there. Not going to happen, but it would be cool to throw him in New York. Get those local folks fired up. Houston, I really don't know who we're going to get in there. It kind of worries me a little bit, to be honest with you, because it seems like all the picks are generally local. And Houston, Texas is a football state, but Houston is not necessarily the greatest football city, right? There's a huge difference between the Texans and the Cowboys, and there always will be, in my opinion. So hopefully that XFL Houston team can give us some pride out here. But yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on who you might see as a coach out here?
Out in Houston?
Yeah.
Keep an eye on a name that he was a former coach in the region. Applewhite, maybe.
Okay.
Major Applewhite. I know he took another job already, but it's still, we're in that time frame where he could change his mind. But for like a guy that has NFL experience or college level experience, it's gonna be pretty hard who they go after, because you want to get sexy names, no offense, but in big time cities to, at least draw some interest. So if you're looking at Houston, you got to find someone that has Texas ties or Houston ties, and make sure he's not, the coach from San Antonio that has no relations to San Antonio. Mm-hmm. But Texas is what you call a football state. I guarantee you, like a Lovely Smith or not Lovely Smith, the former coach at Texas A&M, Charlie Strong, would be a nice fit there. Major Applewhite would be a nice fit there. And maybe go after some like past NFL coaches that the Houston Oilers or the Texans had. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not talking about head coaches like assistants or offensive coaches like these guys that we've had already in the XFL. They all have, track records of being in the league for a long time. Doesn't matter what position, they've been there. But one thing I've noticed so far in all these coaches, these are all offensive-minded coaches. Every single one of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if for you XFL fans out there, there will be a lot of scoring on both sides of the ball, or both teams. We're not going to see the 12-11 yawn fest in Birmingham, or the 2-0 at the end of the third quarter in Arizona yawn fest this past weekend. I'm sorry, but I know I'm going to switch this a little bit, but I have never fallen asleep back-to-back nights watching football games in my life since I've been watching ever. This is the first time I've done it to AAF games. And I'll stay up and watch arena football games and IFL games. I fell asleep with the AAF. It bores me. Their production sucks. Their attendance, they're going to blame the weather for the attendance again. I get about Birmingham with that bad front that came through this past weekend, but seriously, you guys average 18,000 fans, then last week only 6,000 show up. Yeah, 10,000 fans just don't, the weather's going to stop us. Mm-hmm. No, I think the AAF buzz is over and expansion talk is laughable. But for the Houston's sake, I still think Houston's going to try and get it like a Charlie Strong, in my opinion, is for Houston. St. Louis, Hazlitt, it sounds like a good name, but get Isaac Bruce. He wants coaching. He wants it, and that would be a big-time sell for St. Louis. New York, Rex Ryan, go ahead. If I have a defensive-minded coach in L.A., There's so many candidates for LA.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so rant over.
No, that's good. Let's actually switch to the AAF for a quick second. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch any of the games this weekend, and I love football. So I assume there's some other folks that probably are starting to do the same thing. Granted, I was not feeling the greatest, and I have a lot of things, a lot of errands I had to run. But regardless, I didn't even watch the games, and it sounds like I didn't miss much. One thing I did see, though, is the pictures of the attendance. Now, you mentioned, yeah, there's some weather issues. I think at three of the 4 games is what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not. I know the Birmingham game, they had some real weather going there. But I can't
Salt
remember.
Lake City, yes, no.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. It may have been the Birmingham game, but it looked like there was maybe 200 people in the crowd. That cannot be a good feeling for the people running this company, right?
No.
You had mentioned expansion. Unless they want to, expansion I think would be not the greatest move. They may be better off moving some of their teams, but yeah, if they do decide to expand or move a team or however that ends up going on, the only way that they can maybe try to save face, if you will, or get some momentum is to follow what the XFL is doing and moving into some of those big name markets. Because again, San Antonio, there's people at the games because it's Texas. I don't know how many people are watching them, but people are going to go to the games. Once you get into a Salt Lake City, Birmingham, you get into, I can't even think of their locations, but you get into those small markets, and people are not going to pay attention. Tempe, even though Tempe is a very large city, huge college town, those kids, they want to get drunk. They don't care about football. They don't care about going to Sun Devil Stadium. They rather go down Mill Avenue, get a cheap beer, and in theory, it sounds like a genius idea, right? Oh, okay, let's put a secondary market in a big college town where people like to party. People aren't necessarily partying because they're football. They'll go to the ASU games because it's, they like to tailgate, and you have all the frets and the sorority houses and everything right there. But for a new startup league, we can see that hasn't worked, and I could have told them that. I've seen multiple different, and again, I don't live in Arizona anymore, but when I did, I've seen multiple startup hockey leagues come and fail after one season. Multiple soccer companies come and fail after one season. The same is going to happen with the AAF there. So if the AAF sticks around a second year, I could see them being a candidate. Move them out. Get Salt Lake out of there. And hey, as unfortunate as it might be, if they can't get their insurance stuff handled, they may have to move that Orlando team, right? Unless they want to continue driving over to Georgia every week and housing them out of a budget suites or whatever they're housing them at. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think, though, in all reality, when we look at if they're going to move, I think one of the places that's almost set in stone if they do move or expand would be Raleigh, just because of Tom Dundon, which, again, is a horrible market for a startup football league, So I think any way you look at it, you're kind of screwed with this. We'll have to see. But, yeah, when you look at the facts, when you look at the details, when you look at the situation where the XFL, big markets, big city markets, more money, better TV deals, not even better TV deals, paying TV deals, just name recognition. As much as people crap on the XFL, people know what the XFL is, and I have a feeling people are going to be interested to see what the XFL is, if anything, for the first week. And we'll definitely see a dip, just like the AAF is seeing. But I don't think it's going to be as drastic. Yep. And I don't think it's ever going to be as low as the AAF's highest week, if that makes sense, right? I could see the XFL holding above a 2 share on a consistent basis, just from the networks that we presume they're going to be on. I really do hope, and I say this in all honesty, I want the AAF to stick around, if anything, just to create that Monday Night War-esque feeling in spring football, right? I want to see the guys that are good in AAF jump ship to XFL just to see the chatter online. And if people jump from XFL to AAF, I want to see that chatter too. And it will also show us a couple other interesting things, is who really is the feeder league to who, right? I 100% do not expect to see Christian Hackenberg play a down or put on a XFL jersey in his career, right? He may play again for the AAF, but he is absolutely not playing for the XFL. And I think that solidifies the pecking order in my mind, right? Sorry to Christian Hackenberg, but he's the best example, I think, that we have of the AAF. The dude's been benched already. That's got to sting, man. That's got to hurt.
Yeah. Talking about quarterbacks, by the way.
Yeah.
You remember the report that came out last week about Mr. Manziel trying out for any AAF teams?
Yeah. Money Manziel. So what do you got on that?
I don't have any detailed information, but I do remember a certain website saying, or a certain Reddit page saying that once Manziel works out for an AAF team, he's going to sign with the league. There's 2 teams looking for quarterbacks in the AAF right now because of injuries. Mm-hmm. Those 2 teams have already signed those 2 quarterbacks. Manziel has not tried out for any AAF team. So this bodes a big, positive towards the XFL, because I do believe, and me, you, and the XFL show podcast also agree on our Discord. Remember, if you don't have our Discord, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us. XFL talk all the time. I really believe that the reason why Johnny Manziel left the CFL is because he is already in talks with the XFL. Because if he wanted to go to the AAF, ladies and gentlemen, he would already be on an AAF roster, because 2 teams were already looking for quarterbacks. So you can throw that tweet away from when he called the guy out. He said false, which Matt props at Manziel. So if he really, for all you AAF fans out there saying that, Manziel is going to change our league, he should have signed with one of your teams already. And he hasn't. That tells me a lot. Means, yes, he just broke from his contract in the CFL. It's because he's waiting for Vince McMahon or Oliver Luck to give him the go-ahead so he can sign with the XFL. Because what I've read and what I've seen is that these players are not going to sign to a team when they get into the XFL. They're signing to a massive pool. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if Manziel signs to be a part of the XFL, that means all 8 teams will have a chance to grab Manziel. Yes, you're right, Hickey Big. Yes, San Antonio has Manziel's rights, and Manziel, from what I've read, does not like that one team owns his rights. So I don't think he wants to stay in San Antonio. So that's what I've read.
Yeah.
And for what everyone knows, Manziel is he's a rogue type of attitude type quarterback. And if you've seen the videos that you've seen of the DX and Manziel intro, yes, that's Manziel. He belongs. His character, even though say he has a bad past, he has a DUI. Yes, that got thrown out. Yeah, he has domestic violence dispute that never got charged. So yes, he does have a record, but all the records on his criminal record have not been officially charged. They've been thrown out. So
yeah,
he is eligible. He's eligible to make the XFL. The question is, I think Vince and Oliver Luck need to make a little switch on that. The goody two-shoe guys to play in the XFL. If you don't do that, you're not going to get a lot of good players on. There are going to be a lot of players that made mistakes. Like Manziel's made 2 mistakes, but in the last 2 years he's been clean. Mm-hmm. So he's proven to me that he's changed his character. So give him a chance in the XFL, and put him in Houston or put him with Dallas. Just think with him and his Bob Stoops offense down in Dallas. It's going to be kind of exciting.
Money all day.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it's 100% that he either got out of his contract or, maybe he was even talking to one of these companies and that's why they kicked him out. And I wish I had the article up here, but there was one really interesting fact in the wording of the CFL's I think it was either the CFL put out the release, or it may have been the owner of the Alouettes. I believe that's where he played.
The owner of the Alouettes.
Yeah. And there's a line in there that specifically said, we tried to negotiate with Johnny to make some changes to get him to stay in the league, and he decided it was best for him to go to the United States. Something along those lines. That's not verbatim. But so that, to me, tells me they were even trying to keep him, and he was like, no, I don't want to stay here. I'm gone, which probably rubbed them the wrong way, which is why we're seeing the big ban. I don't think he did anything outrageous to get in trouble that kicked him out. If he did, we would have seen
there
it
was
on
nothing
TV.
legal.
You know what I mean?
It was nothing legal.
Yeah. So, and yeah, exactly right. You know, it's kind of a cool idea for the AAF. They kind of had no choice to keep things regional like that. But that's another thing that's just really going to push the XFL one step ahead, too, is not being tied to that regional piece, right? It makes sense for the coaches all day and night, right? At least they have that style of play that people are used to in those areas, right? Big Ten football and SEC football are different. And
hey, can we put some plugs in before we leave, because we know we're running out of time?
Oh yeah, let's go into show mode. Let's do it up.
So to our listeners and our watchers, we are, from our Discord page, we are deciding to do a mock quarterback draft of all 8 teams. This is basically on all information that we have on what quarterbacks XFL is going to go after. We're going to do completely randomized. It's going to be me, XFL2K.com. This is XFL Podcast, and my co-host Carlos from the XF Podcast. All of us are going to be individual teams, and we're going to actually select a quarterback draft of the 3 quarterbacks of each team. So that's going to be pretty recent. So we get the idea what type of players we may see in the XFL. Also, I want to say that I'm working on a piece on my website that is going to be strictly dedicated to what the XFL should do week 1 of the 2020 season. I'm going to give you the hint of what I think. Saturday night should be only 1 game, and it should be LA versus St. Louis in the Dome to start it all off. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why. Why should it happen? The stories that the XFL can tell, and pretty much try and build up a narrative that will just, attract fans to listen to the game or watch the game. A city that got pretty much heartbroken, basically, taking on the team from another city that the other team went to. So I think the XFL can feed on that. Also, you follow us at all of our stuff, XFL2K.com, myself at XF Podcast, and homeboy over the XFLshow.com. So that's my plug.
Well, thank you, sir. And hey, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, we'll probably cut out of here a little bit early to catch this press conference here.
And I think we lost him.
Oh, can you hear me now? How about now? Hello? Uh-oh.
Yep, I got you. There.
It wouldn't be a good show without some audio problems. I'll tell you what. We almost made it. So, yeah, no, hey, good stuff.
It's my fault.
Hey, no worries. So, yeah, thanks, everyone, again, for joining. Again, if it is in Houston next week, I probably won't be able to join, but maybe we could set up something with J-Dash, either in Discord or on YouTube here. But as always, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, XFL2K. And, drop that like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to see when we're dropping new videos. Some are going to be pre-recorded and some are going to be live. Ooh, just like this one. So until next time, everybody, sign you up. Have a good time.